Thermal pollution is defined as the addition of excess of undesirable heat to water that makes it harmful to aquatic life and causes significant changes in normal activities of the aquatic communities. That is known as thermal pollution. So, if you have the presence of excess undesirable heat in water, then it is known as thermal pollution. So, the main cause of thermal pollution, if you see, it is industries what they are doing is, industries they use water as coolant in their operating process. So when water is used as a coolant, and when this hot water, when it is discharged into surface water, it will lead to different problems. So naturally, it happens that all the aquatic animals that you have in that water, it will be getting affected. And in water, it happens that sometimes some fish and other aquatic animals may be adapted to some particular temperature conditions. So when hot water is discharged directly into the water, some aquatic animals may not be able to adapt to the change in temperature conditions. So fish and other aquatic animals, they may be under threat. So this is all, this type of thing, it is also known as thermal shock. So some aquatic animals, they may not be able to adapt to the change in temperature conditions, and they may not survive. Okay, so like this, thermal pollution, it will lead to decrease of biodiversity. So if you take an aquatic ecosystem, mm, in aquatic ecosystem, even if there is a slight increase in the temperature, some animals, they may not be able to survive. Okay, some aquatic plants and aquatic animals, they may find it difficult to survive. So you have decrease in biodiversity. So in order to reduce this thermal pollution, different countries, what they are doing is, they are equipping the some industries with cooling ponds, cooling towers, so that you can bring the temperature of the water to normal conditions, and then discharge that water into nearby water bodies. Okay, directly if hot water is discharged, then it leads to different problems. So if we cool the water, okay, hot water, if it is cooled and then if it is discharged, then you can avoid this thermal pollution. So now some countries, they are adopting this method. Okay, so if you see the sources of thermal pollution, nuclear power plants, it's one major reason for this thermal pollution, that is emitting about 15 percentage more heat per unit electricity produced than the fossil fuel facility. So if you take nuclear power plants is one main source for this thermal pollution. Like this coal fired thermal power plants, they are also another important source for this thermal pollution. So in generating electricity, usually if you take a thermal power plant, they use coal as a fuel. So when coal is burnt, the heat that is produced, it is used to boil water, and when water boils, water, it will be getting converted into steam. So this steam, it is used to rotate the turbine. So when turbine rotates, electricity will be getting generated. So in this process, you can observe that condenser coils will be having, and these condenser coils will be cooled, and then the hot water, it is discharged into nearby surface water. So this, what happens, this, it will lead to increase in the temperature of the water. So when when you take, if you take thermal power plants, when they discharge the hot water into nearby water bodies, naturally it will increase the temperature of that surface water, and when water gets heated, the dissolved oxygen that you have in the water, it will be getting decreased. So fish and other aquatic animals, they may be under threat, because they need dissolved oxygen at a particular level. If dissolved oxygen is decreased, then aquatic animals may be under threat. Also, thermal pollution is from nuclear power plants. Nuclear power plants, they produce this electricity by nuclear fission reactions. So this the heat that is produced during the nuclear fission reaction, usually it is used to boil water, and this water, when it boils, it will be getting converted into steam, and the steam is used to rotate a turbine, and turbine, it generates electricity in a nuclear power plant. So in a nuclear power plant also, the excess heat that is removed, that from by circulating the water, that hot water, usually sometimes it is discharged into nearby surface water bodies like rivers or ocean. So when this hot water, when it is discharged, then it will lead to extinction of some species, some aquatic plants and aquatic animals. So it's a very big threat to aquatic plants and aquatic animals. So thermal power plants and nuclear power plants is one important source for this thermal pollution. Like this domestic waste that is discharged from surface water bodies like the plastic waste and the non-biodegradable materials, it will raise the temperature of the water, and it naturally it will lead to different problems. So what happens is aquatic animals, they may be getting affected. So if you dump some plastic waste into the water bodies, then that also it will lead to this thermal pollution. Okay, so municipal and domestic sewage also, it will raise the temperature of the water bodies, and it will lead to thermal pollution. Also textile industries and then paper and pulp industries, they also release hot water into the water bodies, and this also it will lead to thermal pollution.